Exotic class items are now available in-game, so let's talk about it. There's going to be a little mini guide on how to unlock them and to farm them. First, how do you unlock these class items? You have to do a certain set of objectives in order to unlock a mission, which would be a 2-player mission, hence Dual Destiny being the name. So you will need a buddy with you for that part. To get started and get to that section, you need to complete the overthrow activity in each of these zones on the Pale Heart of the Travelers. Those being the Impasse, the Landing, and the Blooming. I personally recommend doing Blooming last. It's not mandatory, it just happens to be that once you've done it this way, the next part of the objective is going to be in the Blooming, so you might as well just finish with that last. But you can do whatever order you'd like. Now, while you're completing the overthrow objective in each of these zones, what's going to happen is, once you've completed the tier 4 and killed the boss, usually enemies just despawn for a little while, right? But in this instance, after you've completed the event, you can roam around and actually find some enemies in the arena. Each of these areas will have a secret boss of Savathûn hidden in them, and you need to kill these secret bosses in order to vanquish them and proceed with the objective. So for example, in the Landing, to find the boss for Savathûn's Secret Keeper, what you would do from spawn is just hang towards the right of the arena. Go far right and stay right. And eventually, if you keep going by the trail, you will hit a wizard boss, not this one, this is just a public event. You will hit a wizard boss that will belong to Savathûn. It'll be in this area right here in the cave system. And the mechanic is very simple. It'll be an immune boss, like this one, just immune, and a yellow bar. And then you have to shoot 3 crystals in the area to unlock the overshield. So there'll be one like right there, one right there, and then one in the back area over there. Shoot those to unlock the immune shield, and then you just kill the boss. It'll say, a Secret Keeper of Savathûn has been vanquished. That means you're done with this area. For the Impasse, when you're in the main loading zone, just look towards the building here, and then go to the left. And once you go this direction, you'll keep going a little bit further, and eventually you will hit the boss. Basically, you reach this corner, ignore this. This is just a normal public event. We don't need that. And you'll go over here, and the boss will be in this corner. Again, you just kill the boss, it says Secret Keeper has been vanquished, and then you move on to the Blooming for the third one. For the Blooming, this one's actually very, very simple. From your starting point, as you can see, I'm looking at the tree this direction, and if you go over here, you're basically at the cliff edge of the entire area. From here, just look down, and then pay attention to the walls to your left. And you'll have a cave right here to go in, and as you travel inside the cave, once again, you will meet a boss in here a little bit further down. Kill this boss, and it'll say Secret Keeper vanquished, and then you're done with the 3 bosses step. Next, after that, you just simply turn around, go back to the Blooming, or if you'd like, just go to the loading zone again, and from here, you're going to see a giant beam in the sky, a green beam specifically. So, similar to how you see this white beam, I'm going to cut it to the actual footage, you will see a green beam in the sky. Follow this beam to the next objective location. Follow the trail, and eventually you will reach the Refraction, where you will meet a statue of Savathûn, a crystallized one, and this is where the activity would normally take place. But first, there's one more step that you have to do. Savathûn will give you a bunch of nonsense about light and dark, yada yada, and all you have to do is go a little bit further, and in this outer arena, you will get markers to go kill a bunch of enemies. Eventually, you will get a dark drop and a light drop, and what you would do with this is simply go back into the cave, and then dunk the light buff, and then dunk the dark buff. Once you do, this objective marker for Dual Destiny will then pop up, and you'll be ready to start the mission. Now, a couple things before you actually start the mission. Number 1, like I mentioned, this is a 2-player mission, which means you cannot solo this, and you cannot bring a 3-man fire team into this. It just will not work. Number 2, when you go into this mission with a buddy, one of you has to be aligned with the light, and one of you has to be aligned with the dark, meaning one of you uses light subclasses, and the other uses dark subclasses. So the dark user would be Strand or Stasis, and the other would be Void, Solar, or Arc. Once you've made your choice and started the mission, you can no longer switch subclasses. It'll be locked in permanently until the end of the mission. But you can switch weapons during this. So if you're in a pinch and you need to swap weapons for a different part of the encounter, you can still do that. Finally, before I go into the mechanics of the mission, I do want to state that if you like going into encounters blind and trying them out for yourself for the very first time, I would absolutely recommend doing that instead of just spoiling it out for you outright, because it is a very good mission and it is a fun experience to have with a buddy of yours. But if you're struggling or you're stuck and you don't know what to do and that's why you're here, understandable. Here we go. The mission starts out teaching you the mechanic outright. You will see a light pool and a dark pool. depending on what you're aligned with, simply just step into this pool and have your buddy do the same at the exact same time. Once you're both in the pool, then a string will trigger and it'll tell you can proceed with the encounter. This mechanic is going to be involved in literally the entire mission, so remember you're always going to have to do this little portion. The next section will just be simple combat. You clear out the enemies and keep going further and further down. Eventually, you will reach a cliff edge that you will climb up top and you will see a barrier door that's locked in. Now, to unlock this door, you once again use the light and dark mechanic. You will find a plate that is light to the right of the door, and then a dark plate to the left of it. Have you and your buddy step into these plates at the same time, and then it'll unlock this door and let you proceed with the mission. Once breaking down the barrier door, go inside and go ahead into the wall on the right-hand side of this room. Once you are in there, proceed a little bit forward, and you will be met with another dark and light pool in the room. The dark pool will be on top, and the light pool will be on the bottom. Now, in this section, once you do step into these pools, the next combat/puzzle portion will begin. In the simplest way possible, you will have a puzzle on the top of the arena and a puzzle on the bottom of the arena, and you need to work together to jigsaw puzzle it together. On the bottom floor, you will have a yellow bar enemy spawn occasionally that you need to kill in order for it to drop a light mode of light on the ground. You pick it up, and when you do, the podiums in the center of that room will now start lighting up with symbols. There are 2 podiums, so you get 1 symbol each for killing 1 phalanx. In total, you need to kill 2 to see both symbols. Meanwhile, the player above you does the exact same objective, except they are working with the darkness buff. The darkness buff means that instead of looking at a podium, they'll be looking at symbols in the sky with little pyramid objectives that they can shoot. Now, what you need to do is have your light buddy relay which symbols they see and correspond in that order. Meaning, if the light player sees Traveler and Pyramid, just as an example, the dark player needs to find Traveler and Pyramid in the sky and shoot those symbols specifically. Now, it's very important to note that they should be shooting these symbols in the order that they are called out, so specifically Traveler, then Pyramid, and additionally, you might not see the correct symbol right away. So for example, if the first player says Traveler, but you don't immediately see Traveler, that's okay. Do not panic. All you have to do is just continue killing your yellow bars and pick up your extra mote. When you do, you get additional symbols that will spawn in the air for you. And then at some point, you will see Traveler. Once you have shot Traveler, move on to the next symbol. So in this example, it would be Pyramid. Then find Pyramid, shoot it, and then you'll be done. Now, in the event that something goes wrong, don't panic. The game's not going to send you to orbit or anything like that. It simply just wipes the encounter for you, meaning that you won't see symbols anymore, and you go back to square one. All you have to do to fix this is just kill your knights or your phalanxes once again to get the motes so you can see the symbols once again. So the light player will get 2 of them, see 2 symbols, call them out to you, and then you'll shoot the 2 correct symbols, and once you do, if done correctly, you will see paracausal energy tears through you, which means you've done it correctly, and the game is going to teleport you to the next part. Once you are teleported, the same mechanic will begin once again, except this time, your roles are reversed. The person that was reading will now be shooting, and the person that was shooting will now be reading. The rest of the mechanic works exactly the same. You find the light yellow bar and the dark yellow bar, and you keep killing them for motes, and then those motes will give you more symbols to work with. Eventually, your teammate on the podiums will have 3 symbols to read, and they can tell you these one by one. So if the first symbol is pyramid, the shooter does nothing until they can find the pyramid symbol. So if you don't see it outright at the beginning, go kill your yellow bar, unlock more symbols, and see if you can find it then. Once you have found pyramid, be like, okay, I shot pyramid, what's my next symbol? Okay, symbol number 2 is hive eyes. Okay, I shot hive eyes, what's symbol number 3? And so on until you finish this mechanic, and once again, you will get teleported. After the second teleport, your roles have been reversed once more, so technically you're at the beginning starting point. The light player will be reading the symbols, and the dark player will be shooting the symbols. Everything else stays the same. You read the symbols, the other player shoots the symbols, you get 4 correct in a row, and you'll be done with this portion of the mission. After the third teleport, the next portion is just going to be a jump puzzle, some parkouring here and there to be done. The same mechanic is in this as well as the beginning. You can step into a light pool and a dark pool to unlock the next section where you need to go. So as soon as you find a pool, you will know there is a second pool for your buddy to step into, and you both step in, unlock a new platform or something, or a wall, and then progress forward. One small thing about these parkour sections, now I don't know all the locations for these, but I did notice that you can find certain objects within these jumping puzzles, for example, a Sabathun crystal, and if you do, you can shoot it to get a time extension on your mission. I believe each one gives you 3 minutes, so look out for those when you're going through this puzzle. Now for the next section. This one is going to be a mix of puzzle and combat. You're going to be locked in a room with a bunch of dread and taken, and there will be a Price is Right spin wheel in the background for you. Now, the objective in this is going to be pretty simple. You're going to see 3 symbols that are not connected to the rest of the wheel, meaning they have no laser, and your teammate is going to see the exact same thing, but not the same symbols as you. So there's 9 symbols on the wheel. You can see 3, and your teammate can see 3, which means that leaves another 3 symbols unattended to. All you have to do is figure out what you saw and your teammate saw, eliminate those, and by process of elimination, you know what to target on the wheel. For example, this is never going to happen, but for example, Light Guy sees 1, 2, 3. Dark Guy sees 4, 5, 6. This means that 7, 8, 9 are the eliminated target you need to go shoot. So, from that elimination, you go ahead with the fight, kill a bunch of ads, eventually a Tormentor will spawn in. Whoever kills the Tormentor, it only goes to one person, whoever kills them will get a Sundering buff on their screen. All you have to do is shoot those correct symbols that you just deciphered. So, in this example that, again, probably will never happen, 7, 8, 9 were the symbols that you needed to shoot. So, by shooting 7, 8, 9, you get the correct pattern and you proceed with the fight. You have to do this 2 more times for the wheel to break or complete, whatever you want to call it, and then you'll be free of this room and you can go forward. After a brief jumping puzzle once again, you will be put into the final arena of the mission. Here, you have a few objectives. The first is going to be the damage portion of this arena. You're going to start out fighting a stasis subjugator. You're going to get him down to about 2/3 health, and at this point, he will go immune. You need to apply the same symbol functions that you learned earlier in the mission, or if you've played Valve the Disciple, same thing applies here. So one of you is going to kill the Light Wizard, one of you will kill the Dark Wizard. The Light person is going to see 3 symbols next to the subjugator on the screen. So let's say Hive, Traveler, Pyramid. Your buddy is going to see symbols all over in the air in the arena around the boss. And again, all you have to do is just call out the order of the symbols and have your buddy shoot them in that exact same order. Once you've correctly destroyed those 3 symbols, the immunity on the boss will perish, and then you can shoot him once again. Get him down another third of his health to 33%, and then he will go immune permanently for a little bit. After that, the stasis subjugator is just going to be ignored, and you're going to have to fight a strand subjugator. You're going to do the exact same mechanic here. They're going to get damaged, get down to 2/3 health, do the puzzle again, see the 3 symbols, shoot the 3 symbols, break the immunity shield, get them down to 33% health, and they will go immune like the other subjugator. Now, this is the part of the mission that gets super annoying, at least if you were going in blind and thinking you actually knew all the mechanics leading into this. What happens is both the subjugators will just be put into like a brick of darkness or whatever, similar to Nez, and they'll be immune and not doing anything. There will be 2 spin wheels in the arena that pop in on the left and right hand side, and they'll be glowing. You'll notice that you can see 4 glowing lasers at a time on yours, and then your teammate also sees the same thing on theirs, but vice versa, the wheels are just lit up and not doing anything. So what you actually need to do for this objective, and I'm going to break it down in the most simplistic way possible, is you stare at your wheel, and there will be 3 rotations of lines you need to pay attention to. Simply just memorize these lines. So, for example, what I did is I typed out in the team chat what mine were for each rotation. So, they were 4, 6, 7, 9, 2, 3, 5, 8, 1, 10, 11, 12, reading them like a clock. What this did was tell my teammate that I have these numbers, and in their own rotations of 3, they need to look out for which number matches mine in each rotation. So in my first rotation, which was 4, 6, 7, 9, their symbols matched up to 9 being the common denominator. Then in their second rotation, the common was 3. And in the final rotation, the common was 1. Once you figure this out, it becomes very simple. All you got to do is wait on the rotations to start at the exact same time. So if you want to start on the first rotation, for example, once you see 4, 6, 7, 9, you're like, okay, guys, ready? Shoot 9. And then you both shoot 9 on your wheel. Then the next rotation comes in, you both shoot 3. The next rotation comes in, you both shoot 1. If you did this correctly, it will not say dissipate and instead say the barrier has been weakened. and once you've done it 3 times total, the barriers will break. Once they've broken, both subjugators will get free, and now it becomes a combat section again to just kill the subjugator bosses and a bunch of trash mobs around the arena. Once you've killed the bosses, you are almost done with the mission. There is one more part of the mission, but I will not explain it to you. Trust me, you will figure it out on your own. You don't need a guide. All I will tell you for the end of the mission is choose violence. That is all you need to know. Choose violence. Got it? Okay, we're going to skip ahead and talk about how you're supposed to farm these things after you unlock them. So that was an interesting way to end the mission, huh? Anyway, how do you farm these things? Well, it seems like there's 2 options you have for this. You either continue to run Dual Destiny with somebody and farm it through that method, or you can go into the Pale Heart and an open chest within the Pale Heart and hope to get lucky. I assume regular chests are going to be something really silly, like a 1% drop rate, and an overthrow tier 4 chest at the end will give a substantially increased rate, but not 100%. In other words, they want you to farm Dual Destiny, but if you don't want to farm puzzles, then you just go in the Pale Heart, turn your brain off, and open a bunch of chests to try to get your class item. And those are all the basics you need to know in order to get these class items and farm them in the Pale Heart. Hopefully this helps. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing today. It does help the channel grow and is much appreciated on the way to 40K. And if you want to go the extra mile, you can leave a like and or comment below as well. If you don't know what to comment, you can leave exotic as the comment. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.